Does everything have a bright side to it? Of course. Doesn't always outweigh the negatives, but everything has a bright side to it. This makes happiness a choice. And here we say that the discipline of being happy is the ultimate discipline. With that said, welcome to the Ultimate Discipline Podcast, where we meet with people who are practitioners of this exact discipline, and we hear their cool stories of cultivating happiness through challenges in their life. I am your host, Sean Greenspan. Let's get to it. What's going on, everybody? I hope you are doing well. It is Wednesday morning, and I have the chance to talk to Dr. Robb. This is a really fun one. Dr. Robb's media director, Courtney, reached out, and we went back and forth. She wanted to present Dr. Robb to be on the podcast. I took a look at the amazing work he's done, so I know some stuff about him, and I said, awesome, and, she booked it, and I asked her, I said, don't tell Dr. Robb anything about me. Don't tell him anything about the podcast. So he doesn't know what we're getting into. And I love that. What I found, about Dr. Robb that was so interesting was I was looking at your website. And I was just seeing how much, how long and how much you focus on rewiring the brain. It's something that I have a ton of experience with, Dr. Robb, from a practitioner standpoint and not from being a student, right? So no formal education. I would say mild understanding of the science behind it, and a lot of exploration from, an experience standpoint. So I think this will be a really fun thing for us to jump into. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Great to be here. Looking forward to it.
I know you told the first thing you said when you hopped on was this is going to be the best podcast ever. Let's go. All right. Well, Dr. Robb, I actually like to jump right in, but give me the 60-second rundown of a little bit of your history and kind of like how you got here today. I know that's a challenge to make it short, but
I'm pretty good at this. From Manchester, England is where I was born. Turned into a professional musician by the age of 9. Also took my first drink at 9. Alcoholism in the family. Grew up lower middle class, so kind of projects kind of thing. Dad dug roads for a living, and mum cleaned other people's houses. Went to school. Played music all the time in schools, in bands and stuff like that. I love my guitar. And then luckily I went to college. It was just crazy how I did, but I got to college and then just spent the rest of my life trying to help people because I suffered from alcoholism and I became homeless. I lost my kids, lost my wife, lost my businesses, lost brother and sister, mum and dad disowned me. I was actually living on the streets, under trees and in bus shelters. And then a miracle of God came right through. And here I am, San Antonio, guys. I've been in this industry for 30 years with almost 100% success rate with 8,000 patients. We love what we do because we do what we love. And I'm as passionate today as I was when I first started this journey because I've seen some miracles, Sean.
I I feel it that you love it. I really, really do. And it's funny. I'm very, very grateful that I recently started an events company where we're working to we're throwing free events for the fitness community. And I was working late last night with my business partner, and he goes, "Thanks for always being willing to work late with me." And I said, "We're just playing." What we were doing was we were trying to redesign like the structure of our events. We were just sitting on the phone talking about, like how to manage people's energy, right? Because we like to do a down regulation breath work. And we were doing that in the beginning and then a workout. And I was like, no, we need a workout and then bring people down, and like we were just playing around. It was fun. And, it's when you realize that when you feel that connection, man, it's awesome. That's kind of why I do the podcast. So let me ask you something. I feel that you embody your learning. And the reason I say I feel that you have rewired your brain, that your automatic habitual response is the desired response. I'm curious if you could talk to me about some of the work that you've done on yourself to rewire your brain.
Well, many years ago, I realized that childhood trauma is not the childhood trauma people think it is. So I had a lot of stuff in the past that I didn't think was childhood trauma because nobody was studying it at the time. But yeah, I had to go what we call go back to the scene of the crime, uncover, discover, discard of that stuff. So how we are born here and raised is how we act here. So if a young girl saw dad come home most nights drunk and beat mom, she'll go up and gonna date that guy that ends up being a drunk and beats her. It's learned behavior. It's a pattern, a measurement pattern that we have. So when I went back and looked at it and looked the way I was acting, because I never got anywhere, I was always living paycheck to paycheck and I was miserable. I was drinking like crazy, suicide attempts. So when I started studying the neuroscience behind what's happening with the mind and the brain, mind over matter, it became very clear to me that unless I clear this up, I can't go forward with my life. So that's what I did. I spent, now you can't do this on your own, guys. You can't rewire or recircuit brains on your own. You can't do it. But I went with somebody, a therapist who it was amazing, took me through the work, took about 3 months, a lot of ACA work and stuff like that. But eventually got free of my past, that stuff that was dragging me down
Yeah.
every time. And I was worried about what people thought of me. I grew up as the imposter syndrome. I grew up on the project, and here I am now, where I am now. It's crazy. And if I wouldn't have done my work on myself, I would have either relapsed or backed out of this company because I didn't think I was blonde enough, tall enough, thin enough, or rich enough. And that's what most people go through. So you have to clear. And by the way, guys, everybody has trauma. Don't sit there. I've got no trauma. My life was amazing. There is trauma. Whether you recall it from subconscious is up to you, but there always is because when we created this statement that people hate, as children, anything less than nurturing is child abuse. Well, my dad, we live in a $10 million house, and when do you see your dad? Oh, I see him on Sunday between 2 and 3. What? Where is he? Oh, he's off working all week in Afghanistan or whatever. He earns the fact. You're suffering from abandonment, my good man, is what you're suffering from. And that will tell in your later life.
Mm. Uh, thank, thank you for sharing. A couple questions come to mind. I kind of want to dig in why you think you can't work on this alone and why you need someone. But actually, that's something that I want to get back to. But where I really want to start now, Dr. Robb, is I want to understand that point you said where everybody has trauma. Okay, and let me. I'm going to open up a little bit about where I am in my life, and maybe that helps other people and helps you gain a little picture. And feel free to use me as an experiment. So, my all of my memories really of, I shouldn't say all, but like I had a great upbringing, right? I had some trouble. Like my parents were split up, but they always treated me well. And we had an interesting scenario. I don't need to get into the details where it seemed like we were in a good financial position because of the area we lived, and we were struggling. But like, I mean, struggling, right? Like I always had a hot meal. You know what I mean? If I wanted to
Yeah.
play sports, I was always able to play sports, right? Maybe I didn't like go to all the camps the kids went to, but like I was good. And I've had what I would say has been a pretty low adversity life after that, right? So, I had a good job at a school, started a company that's been pretty successful, and just in the last maybe 3 years, I've realized I've had a very clear goal of earning more money. Three goals: earning more money, working less, and aligning my work with my passions more. And in reality, I've seen very minor shifts there, right? So for example, I got my company up to the highest revenue it ever was in January. We're sitting here, it's March 13th, and I lost my four biggest clients in the last 11 days, Rob, today. So it's like when you something like that, and it's not a coincidence, right? Actually, of all four that we lost, none of them were performance. Two of them lost funding. One of them was an SEO company that got re-indexed by Google and their business flipped overnight. And the other one we did a launch. They did so well. They said, we don't need your services. I'm a marketing company because we can't handle the business. And I'm like, it's too weird, right? There's obviously synchronicities going on. And the reason I give you that backstory is like, I've tried to do some like multi-hour meditations, retreats, like try to like dig back. I've never worked with a coach. I really don't feel like I've had any trauma or like I even have any like major issues, right? Like having a successful business but wanting to grow it bigger and having a podcast but wanting to grow bigger. It's not like these are like third world country issues, right? But they're clear goals I'm working towards, and I find myself in similar patterns. So feel free to like question me, or like I want to frame this up in the question of like why everyone has, or how everyone has trauma, right? Because yeah, I'm curious about that.
Well, we work with all sorts of, we I tend now say to work with high profile people, but I've worked with all kinds of people, and there's always trauma there. It's like when you lose the four clients, where did your memory set go to? What's your relationships like? What friends you have? What patterns can you spot today? It all comes from what we've been learned. So, a measurement and learned behavior is key, but we don't always spot it. So whether you had rejection as a child, will actually impressed today. If anything's turned down, we go through that point subconsciously of going, I'm not good enough, something's happened, this is my fault, even though, like you just said, it's not your fault. But while we're progressing, everything around us, when we're free of the trauma, we're free of all the stuff that is self sabotaging in the brain, you see opportunities around you. So we attract what we think we are worth based on childhood trauma. So the thing might have happened where there was a little bit of neglect, mum wasn't there all the time, she was working. The slightest thing with certain people have that effect on later in life. So, you mentioned money, I want to grow this, I want to grow that. The question is, why haven't you? And then, well, it's not my fault. It's like, well, it's January, so why haven't you gone further down to loads of concerts and there are 20 people in the box, and so you're not dependent upon three, and all that goes back. So 8,000 patients I've seen in the past 30, 8,000
Wow.
patients, not eight, not 80, not eight, 8,000, and every single one of them has childhood trauma. But you have to pick away with the childhood trauma. Oh yeah, I wasn't in a plane crash. My family never divorced. That's not the trauma we're talking about. Alcoholics and addicts hear things different than normal people. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. Successful people are born, but you can be successful. Failures are born failure because what we hear from our parents. How many times, Rob, have I told you you can't go to college like your brother? You're too stupid. I carried that for years, but didn't know. So when we're using tools like NLP, SE, brain spotting, you cannot pull that out of your own. But something will be going wrong here where you stagnate. And when I say successful, it doesn't always mean money, guys. Believe me, I've been rich, I've been poor. I choose rich every time. But as a part of my life for 2 years, I was the most miserable person in the world, driving a 911 to work with a Rolex watch and about $2 million in my bank. I was a miserable person. Today, as of 4 years ago, I have two daughters. The youngest daughter got in touch with me 2 weeks ago, and my eldest got in touch with me 4 years ago. That is success. That is everything I want in life. So it's a perspective of what people's lives are like, but we do live. Because what else are we going to do? We're going to live the way we were taught to live. From very young, don't touch the stove because it's hot and it'll burn you. So as children, we believe what people tell us, and what we see is how we feel. Watch a happy movie, we're happy, sad movie, but what we hear we believe to be the truth because it comes from our caregivers. Don't put your hand on the stuff. That is the truth. So we believe it. The problem is, as we go through life, we believe all this stuff that we've seen or heard or been accustomed to watching as a child that we take on here. There is no way. 80% of the people that happened here and are now here, adult, you cannot put that together. But it's always there.
Yeah. Hmm. What So I'm vaguely familiar with NLP. I'm not familiar with the one you said with an S and then brain spotting. What are some of the modalities? Is it like asking questions and trying to like help people bring up memory? Well, yeah. Is it asking people questions, helping them bring up memories? Is that kind of the way that you're working through this with people?
In a subliminal way, if you ask somebody, give me a bad memory, they probably can't straight away, a really bad one. So by using tools like brain spotting, which goes through the pupil into the subconscious mind with eye flickers and movement, it's a bit like EDMR. You're able to pull that trauma that was subconscious. Because you go to therapists for a couple of reasons, but one is you don't feel there's something wrong with you. Most people in the world walk around with two things: only acting 60 to 65% of their potential and not getting enough oxygen. So the presence of oxygen is lack of disease. So these things we don't know. So we rely back on our learned behavior. Yeah, even our first, second marriages, we go back to that behavior because we don't know any different. So it's about pulling this stuff out of people. And we will go to any length, psychodramas, whatever lengths we have to go to, because I'm a concierge doctor. I only see 4 patients at any one time, but my company sees maybe 80. So I specialize on that. But yeah, it's pulling it out. And it's not always about trauma, it's always about going forward as well. What people are capable of, or what they think they're capable of, is probably a tenth of what you are capable of doing. But we don't believe that. So we fall back in them patterns again. Most people are scared of success and scared of failure. And they won't admit that, but they are. And then once we get in that role of being successful, we want more, 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 more. So like if I get $1 million in the bank, I'll be happy. I will never worry again. When you get 100, it's like, well, if I just get $2 million in the bank, and we're chasing this future instead of living in the present, living in the now. Depression, the past. Nervousness and anxiety, the front. Fear doesn't exist, but we think it exists. We're worried about something that's not even happening. We have no control over. Depression in America is defined by the medical fraternity as lack of serotonin. It's just lack of serotonin. So rather than go to the doctor and get on some depression pills and raising the serotonin, why isn't anybody asking why my serotonin is low in the first place? No one's asking them. So we fall into, again, this chemical warfare with the pharmaceutical companies that we can never come off. One of the questions I ask all my patients is, do you take any medication? Yeah. Has it cured you? No. Has anybody ever took a medication that got rid of their illness and they stopped taking the medication? The answer is no. What we eat on a daily basis is garbage. And you can go to the store, you can go to Walmart, whatever, or wherever you want to go, and you can buy food. Let's say for England, England's very good at producing a food to what it is. So, McDonald's, the worst food we can eat. McDonald's, 3 ingredients: salt, potatoes, and something I can't remember what it is. 3 ingredients. Same McDonald's here, there's almost 20 ingredients in it. So what are we eating over here that also affects the past, that troubles us in the future? So when you are in the now, right here at 12:53 Central Time, I'm in the moment. I'm not worrying about yesterday. I'm not worried about in an hour's time. I'm in the moment. And it's so good when you get there, but it's so hard to get there, without joining up with somebody who knows what they're doing. If you're seeing a therapist for like 10 years, what the really, guys? What? You really? Have I've been taking depression pills for 5 years. When did you think it was going to kick in?
Yeah.
It obviously hasn't. But yeah, we fall into this mundane patterns that, people usually are good in that. Sean, people are good at it. They love it. They want to live that life. But if you find yourself in a position that you want to get more or want more or care more or give away more, then it's open. Everybody can do this. Everybody can go from a 10-cent mind to $1 million mind. Right? Everybody, unless you've got serious brain damage, everybody can. Everyone who's been with it been a success, because you have to start believing in what you are about, what you're capable of doing. We never see ourselves how other people see us. And once we get that key, you realize that, yeah, I am powerful. Many years ago, Sean, we took this photograph, me and my friend of mine, bodybuilding, used to be head into bodybuilding. And a couple of years ago, my parents died, so me and my friend went over sorting everything out in the house. And he said, Rob, quick, look at this. And he had this black and white photograph, and we're both doing this. And it's like, oh my God, look at our biceps. Look at our waist. It was so thin, man. Oh my God, we look really good looking. My friend said, oh God, those were the days, Rob, weren't they? And I got thinking that when we took that photograph, we didn't know that those were the days. So the question is, what if today's one of those days?
Mm.
What are you going to get out today that can benefit you going in the future? I earn a lot of money, but I can tell you this: 25% of my earnings go back into the community, and we all in our company have to carry a pro bono. Once you stay with the feet on the ground, no matter where you're up here, when I went on Oprah, it didn't affect me. When I went on the doctors, it didn't affect me. Why? Because I know who I am. You see, if you're an idiot or a dick when you're poor, you're going to be a dick when you're rich. Money doesn't change you, it enhances who you are. So it's all about being in the now, getting rid of the past, looking forward to the future.
Mm. I I love your passion, and I it's so clear because like what we're doing right now like can't be there's nothing for it to be self-serving. Like it's just simply that you the sense that I get is that you found something you just want to share it with people, and you know it brings energy to you that you know keeps you going, keeps you motivated, and all that fun stuff. Um, So a question I have because I want to stick on this train about like everyone having trauma and just like understanding that. Um, I think a lot of people think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people think trauma has to be some horrible, horrible thing that happened, right? Like getting molested, like your parents just leaving you at 3 years old, like something just crazy. Um, where what I heard was like, like having a really successful family where the dad works a lot could be a form of trauma, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, every day the dad's choosing work over me, work over me, work over me. It just kind of like slowly compounds. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that, my guess, is a much, much more common form of trauma, right? Like so yeah, I'm excited to hear you speak about this.
See that's you just hit the nail on the head, Sean. Everybody thinks it's something bad that happens to you that major affects their life, and it's we're not talking about go to a therapist. Don't come to us if that's your problem. If you've got PTSD from a certain we don't want you. We're talking about the guys that is 4 years old, went up to another girl and smiled and she run away. What does that tell you throughout the years? That women don't like you. And I know it's crazy, but it's true. That's the kind of petty trauma we're talking about that sticks with us and forms into this crazy action as we go through life. There was a point in my life where, as a youngster, it's probably 10, 11, 12, my parents used to drop me off at their friends on a Friday night so they could go out drinking. What they didn't know, and I didn't know at the time, is when we got to the house, we all had to get undressed, like there's three of us, and we all had to run around the house naked, and the adults would chase us and grab our different parts of the body and tickle us and stuff like that. What? That's freaking childhood trauma. But you know what that effect had on me as a bodybuilder? I would never take my top off unless I was on stage somewhere. I would never take it off because that reminded me of the naked game or the runaround game, whatever them guys called it. But it was years and years before I found out that that was the trauma I was suffering from. I've worked on that for so long that eventually we have a pool I can finally take my top off when people are around. So it's that little tiny thing that you don't think is. So is every household perfect? Of course they're not. Nobody pretends to be. There's no manual with children. This is how you raise a good child. There's none of that. It all goes to crap once the child is born. We do our best I can. We kind of take from our other parents and we program our children to act and talk a different way. So it's about sitting in front of somebody and niggling through the tiny things. Like I can't stay in a relationship. Well, the reason you can't stay in a relationship, probably, and let's get to the bottom of it, is because you self sabotage that relationship. Oh, well, yeah, and it's true because they've been taught to self sabotage. I was taught to lie at an early age from my parents. When somebody calls the house, if they ever ask for our address, you give them this address. Well, you're leaving the project, but this address was a nice house on the private estates with the mortgage. So straight away, I'm learned to lie. So lying become, I lie about stupid stuff in the past. What colour's your pen? It's red. I can see it's blue, right? No, no, no. It's a blue outer, but inside there's like this invisible red thing that actually writes red. What? What? But that's how we are from the childhood trauma that we get. So you sat here, listening to guys, and you go, "Well, I can't think of anything." If your life is in a mess, if your life is dysfunctional, now if you're successful, you're happy, you have children, you're giving back, you're working with people. I mean, this is an amazing 10 out of 10 day every single day, like me. Then you're good because you've sorted out somewhere that's been repaired in the past. But most people are in a relationship and they stay in a relationship far too long when it's miserable. They haven't got the job that they want. They're not earning 8 figures a year. Why? Why aren't you? Well, it's not that easy. It really is that easy. It really is that easy. If you don't like your wife and you're stuck in that relationship, get another wife. If you don't like your job, get another job. Well, it's not that. It really is, because I'm telling you something, guys. If you don't clear that crap up, you're going to attract the same people in marriages and girlfriends and everything for the rest of your life. You're never going to be happy. It's not up to me to make you happy. It's up to you to make yourself happy, and we join as a couple. All my girlfriends and wives in the past, I've had a couple of wives, they all know that. It's like, it's an inside job, but you have to niggle and pick the child up apart when you have an action. Like I get to a certain point and nothing happens. I get to a certain point and I'm too busy to do something. You have to analyze why you act that way.
Mm.
Because people with trauma who's cleared it up doesn't act that way. They're the guys running Google and all that great Apple and all the great
let's
things.
what let's
Yeah.
stick with that. So what does that analyzation look like? Again, for everyone out there, I want to use me as an example. I'm happy to open up, right? Um, like for example, Dr. Robb, what happens this is what happens to me is I get my business to a point where I'm like, wow, we have clients I like. I'm doing the strategy work that I like. I'm not too in the weeds. Um, and then two things happen at once. One is, we start to hear crazy news and lose clients. And then the other is I start to get, with like the projects I have, I start to get these meetings that pop up. Hey, I really, like from a client, I really, really need 60 minutes of your time. We have to walk through this. And that just happened. So I go, my two problems again, business growth, or my three goals: business growth, doing what I want, and free time. You know, um, like when I hear one of my employees, and it comes in all at once. One of my employees says, "Sean, I absolutely need to chat with you. I have something going on in my life. I have to make time, right?" And I feel like it just like that comes like I'm talking, 8 hours a day. What I like to do is I like to walk and run outside with no technology, and use it to like not just clear my head, but like critically analyze what's going on. So what you're saying, if I get to that precipice and then I have these same things, what would you say is a way to like analyze it? Like, are there certain questions that you ask yourself or activities you recommend?
What you have to look at is you're self-sabotaging first of all. So how self-sabotaging works is we get to a certain point in our life, and then we depend on one or two people around us or one or two companies around us because you think you're good there. You think that because you can't go any further. God forbid you have 20 people around you or 20 companies around you. Now you're taking 20, $30 million a year. I mean, God, you can't even handle that. My brain, where's my free time? It's like we self-sabotage. So the basal ganglia is our repetition, strength, and confirms part of the brain. So the self-sabotage that we've had since birth or during our childhood is stuck in the basal ganglia. So this is what happens. If you can imagine a clock face, 10 after, we start working hard, 20 after, we get our first contract, half past, we get another contract, and then we buy a house, and at 10 to, you self-sabotage. And we draw our own perspective. We draw people to us. It's proven time and time and time again that we draw energy with energy, mind, matter, mind over matter. We draw the people around us that we need to draw. But with trauma in the past, again, we attract what we think we are worth. So, say you haven't had wealth. Say you do your first $1 million in the first year. You've never had that wealth. What you'll find yourself doing is still hanging around the guys that you used to hang around with. If I hang around nine depressed people, I'm going to become the 10th. It's the mirroring part of the brain. It's the way the brain works. If I hang around nine successful people, I'm going to become the 10th. So it's all mimicking from birth and as we go through life. And if you're satisfied being there, but the question is, why aren't you earning $10 million a year? Well, no, give me one reason. Well, no, it's an excuse. Give me a reason. There's no reason. That in today's world, there's no reason why your company should be earning $10 million a year. No reason at all. It's self-sabotage. It's childhood trauma. It's your bringing up and your dating and the way you were treated and treated others and all that climb to where you are now. Bang. And we can tell ourselves anything we want to do. Like they went, Bob, he didn't like me, I didn't like him, or whatever. But we have to attract people all the time. So when you drove this morning or yesterday, did you see any red cars? No, didn't notice any. On your way home tonight, I want you to look for red cars. You call me up. Oh my God, I saw 10. Why? Because you're looking for them red cars. You're looking to expand the business. You're looking to earn a multi-billion-dollar company. Once you start looking and ready to receive, and this is the hard part with the trauma, it's all out there. It's all out there for the taking. Quantum physics backs me up with this, but we don't take it because we don't notice the red cars. And we go through life not noticing the opportunities around us because of something's happened in the past that tells us subconsciously, guys, not conscious. Living in the now is the conscious. This is full of all the crap we went through. So when the prefrontal cortex goes, give me an answer, yes or no, what happens is you start pulling from the conscious brain that says, yeah. I'll take that $300 million contract. The prefrontal cortex hits from the subconscious brain that says, who do you think you are? You're not good enough. You're not good enough to do this. Everyone will find out who you are. You're an imposter. Don't be stupid. Don't take it. And we make a decision based on the subconscious answer that we don't even know we're doing, but we keep doing it. And we wonder why we fail. And this is one of the reasons you can't do it on your own. It's blatant to us because we've been in the industry so long. It's blatant to us what people go through, and now we can absolutely, help people. We tell people all the time: if your salary hasn't doubled within 6 to 12 months, I'm going to refund every penny you've spent in my office. Period. No one's claimed it yet because we're capable of a lot more things than we do. I mean, a few years ago, I used to go, you can be anything you want. And the biggest reply in America to me was, well, I can't be president of the United States. Let's forget your political views for a second. We had a freaking businessman running the country. He didn't have any political experience whatsoever, yet he was running the country. So, guys, don't tell me that you can't achieve your dream because it's just not true. That's the bad shit telling us this, that you can't do it. It's just not true.
Yeah, it's it's very interesting. Let me hear you dive in on the quantum physics piece a little, because that's something that I've looked into secondary researchers, so more like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who like interprets a lot of the quantum physics out there. I'd love to understand how that supports some of this, because that I think a lot of people are looking for the hard science, right? People don't want to hear, like, they need every excuse that they can like manifest things. So if you have anything to share on that, I think it would be worthwhile.
Okay, guys, we listen up for the next 3 hours. And by the way, before I go, I'm going to give you 3 things that'll change your life from tomorrow. 3 things that you do tonight. Okay, so let's make it real simple because quantum physics is a mind, So let's make it real simple. Let's say on a basketball court, okay, I've never played basketball, but you can vision yourself 12 times on that court, okay? Now close your eyes or open, visualize yourself 12 times on that basketball court in different positions. Where would you want to be? Well, I want to be over near the goals. When I get the ball, I'm going to slam it into the net. I'm going to be a hero of the game. Can you visualize yourself doing that? I can. What does he feel like? Well, feeling? Yeah, what does he feel like? Wow, he feels amazing. He feels amazing. Okay, and that's where you want to be, and that's who you want to be, yeah? That's the play. Yeah. What do I have to do to be there? Walk over and take that position. Don't crawl for it. Don't beg for it. What? You've already got the feeling. You already know what it's like. You've visualized that that's where I want to be. What are you doing? Why are you crawling? Why are you thinking you'll walk over and take that freaking position? And the quicker you get there, the easier life will become. That's a layman's terms of what is possible. But we don't want to do that because we don't think I'm good enough or it can't be possible. It's not that easy. Like I say, what we've talked about for the first 20, 30 minutes in the show,
Mm.
when we apply all that, guys, I can't stress enough how this is possible. I can't even stress enough how this is possible because it is. The vibration has to be right. The acceptance of that position needs to sit right with me. And then I walk over towards it and I take it, whatever that means, walk over, work, work in a relationship, whatever it is, to stand there where you always want to be, because that's the key. People don't do it. So we still
Well,
walk around at 60% of what we're capable of doing.
I'm I have to admit, I'm taking notes on some of the things you're saying because I want to make sure that I lock them in. I also have this podcast to re-listen to, obviously, which is great. Um, I I love, first of all, I'm a basketball player, so good analogy there. But I love what you're
Uh,
saying. It's like, you pick a position that you want, it's like just go take it. Um a couple things that I've realized, Rob, and it's been really funny, right? Like I'll think about, okay, um I want to start working with bigger clients, right? Okay, maybe that's the thing. Then I said, all right, let me look at my business strategy. I had my sales rep, the first thing in there is I told him, find small to medium sized clients. It's impossible I'm going to work. It's literally impossible I'm going to work with bigger sized clients. We don't even have an offer set up for them. So how is there a chance I would work with them? It would have to be that, like, some massive company just happened to reach out to me. You know what I mean? And that's something that I don't, I've realized too. So the reason I started my company, Rob, was very simple. Uh, Someone said, "What's your goal?" I said, "Hey, it's important to me to be wealthy." And the reason that's important is because I think wealth is a form of energy and it's a resource, and I want to help people. So it's important for me to have time, money, and energy. So I try to block my time, build money, and work on my physical health for energy. And they said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "I work at a company and I'm getting promoted regularly." And they were like, without ownership, right? So owning a stock, owning a business, like when you're trading your time for money, it's impossible to be wealthy. And that's a different discussion. But I just realized, I was like, I used to tell people I want it, but my actions didn't align with my goals. And what was interesting was when people hear that, that doesn't mean I wasn't working hard. That doesn't mean I wasn't a good person. It meant my actions were aligning to be not wealthy. Like it would have been, I had no stocks, I didn't invest in anything, and I didn't own any business, right? So you look at every, wealthy person, right? It's like CEO with stock share, investor. It's like, entrepreneur. Like it's people that have some sort of ownership. And that's when it really hit me that I was like, wow, I'm not living in integrity with myself, right? And I haven't done enough analyzing of myself. And that's it's funny because we think we're doing things because we say things, but saying's not doing.
so true, man. So true. Like, the first thing I pick on straight away is I don't think I can get. Well, with an attitude like that, you're not going to. When I first got my huge movie star, probably in the top 10 of movie stars, a little bit that came to me. The,
Someone you
the
were
thing is,
working with?
yeah, I work with movie stars and footballers, and I have three high-profile people right now, the actors and the musician, and I've worked with loads in the past. Is like you get that little feeling the first time, going, "Oh my God, he's paying me this money. He's coming to me, and that will disappear. Your opportunities in that world will disappear. So rather saying, I know it's cheesy that it's impossible, you got to start saying, I'm possible, because internal dialogue is very, very important. We tell ourselves we believe, okay, and ask yourself this question: How bad do I want this? How bad do I want it? Don't judge me by my, what I'm going to say or how I'm going to do it. Don't judge me by it. Judge me by my actions. Judge me by what I do on a daily basis. Are we complimenting three people? Are we helping people less than us? Do we have a supreme being, higher power, Uncle Jimmy up there that's looking after you? Is this your path? Your path was always meant to be where you want to be, because that's why we have a dream of that. That's why we have a vision. But what we do is we don't do as we're telling others to do. Like morning work, there's three things in the morning. Again, I'll show you before we go, guys, but that will set your day up and change your life. Going the extra mile, making sure the vision never ever leaves you, but always forgetting that when you do get rich and successful, that you're always going to give back and help the other person, always. And everything, it's there for the taking. But we tell ourselves internally, it's like we speak to ourselves like we wouldn't speak to our worst enemy. So I drop a pen on the floor. It's, oh, you stupid idiot. Guys, stop that shit. And don't say things that are funny. Oh, I'm just an idiot. Stop that shit. And don't let anybody around you do the same. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Watch for the one guy around you that doesn't want you to succeed and get rid of him. Because one little look at Karen Carpenter, one little word over here that she's overweight or fat, that she's and another person, she didn't even supposed to hear that. She died over that. Okay, so one bad apple will completely ruin you. Get rid of that shit. Get rid of that around you. If people aren't clapping you and supporting you 100% and you're not doing the same to them, they're not your guys. And when I started getting wealthy, I was on TV and everything. I started to try and hang around with the guys I grew up with. It doesn't work because when I kept going, it's a cesspit of people that don't want to succeed. And so what they do is rather stick into their own shit and not. They want to pull you back in. So the more you get out, we start listening to these guys. It's like we've got to get out from that cesspit. And I mean, don't no disrespect. Where I come from, it was a freaking cesspit. People started to drag me down. No, you've got to look at what you want. Why you were put on this earth? What is your niche in life? What's your mission in life? How freaking bad do you want it? Well, I want it really bad. Well, okay, let's judge you by your actions, not by your intentions. That's where the rubber hits the road. Your intentions means crap to me. What's your actions pertaining to that vision? What did you do last 3 days? Oh, I worked. Listen, when you're working for anybody else, you never get rich. When you're working for anybody else, you're never going to make a statement or a high platform when you can speak to others. Never going to do it. It's the biggest con in the world. We're giving you a paycheck at the end of every week or month. What? Well, I'm going to start my own business. You've got a business card and a website. That's kind of business. It's mundane. It's weak. Why not start an empire? Get your mind thinking empire, and you will attract those people that have built empires. And again, guy, this is bullshit. Try it, and it will blow your mind when you get into that space, and then you realize I'm worth much more than I thought I was worth. I actually can do this. Most people, if you show them, not tell them. That's why college is shit. There's no RI on a college diploma anymore. If me and you went into a surgeon right now and we spent 2 weeks with him, how to replace a knee, me and you could do that. We don't need to spend 10 years in medical school. We could literally do that because that's the kind of people we are. We're entrepreneurs, we're go-getters. You don't need all them years of school. It's the same with life. You don't have to have gone to college. You don't have to have done A, B, and C. It's like, what do you want? How bad do you want it? Can you make it happen and make it happen now?
Mm.
That's the key. Take no notice of the naysayers and the haters. Do you know, I say to my haters, I've only got two now, out of the millions of people I know, which is awesome. When you start paying my mortgage, I'll start listening to you. Other than that, you've got no business calling me or anything. If you've got a problem with me, text me. And if you don't have my number to text me, then you don't mean shit to me. So you go over there and do anything you want, but I'm not listening to you. When you surround yourself with them people, you become. Like if I told you a lie now, Sean, you might believe it, you might not. But if I told you a lie often enough, the same lie, you're going to start to believe it. But guess what? If I keep telling you that lie, I'm going to start to believe it. And that's the way our mind works. We only know we're any good when people tell us that we're good. Oh my God, Sean, thank you for doing that. I can see you earning millions. You're amazing at what you do. Because I spoke somewhere in California. There was 1,000 people there. Why do I know there's 1,000? You had to click them in for fire rules. And after the meeting, they said, stay around for 2 hours. Everybody shakes your hands. And so I stayed around for the 2 hours. 999 of those people said I was amazing. One person said I was crap. I was angry. I was too loud and didn't have anything to offer. Have a guess who I concentrated on for the next 2 weeks. That's how our mind works. Stay
Yeah.
away from them guys. Red them out. Cut them off immediately if you know who they are.
It's you're very good at clarifying these things and making sure that there's a very clear point. And I want to let you know that I appreciate that. Because clarity comes from genius, people say, right? It comes from really spending time to like think about it. And what I'm hearing is like, I'll tell you something that's been challenging is the same thing, like hanging around the same people, friends, even family, right? Like
Yeah.
they're in the same energetic state and people want to be around other people in the same energetic state. So they're going to keep you there. And when you break free, you know, you don't need to entirely eliminate them, or you don't need to necessarily degrade them by eliminating them. But you can choose wisely who to spend your time with. And guess what? I If someone is just known you for a while, that doesn't make them your friend. right?
Correct.
If someone's not motivating you and cheering them on, then you shouldn't be their friend. And if they're not, if they're just doing nothing but complaining about their life, that's that is not a friend. And the best thing, in my opinion, that you said, Dr. Robb, was some people are going to say this bullshit. Try it, right?
Yeah,
It's like to me
absolutely.
that's someone just being scared. That's another limiting belief or something that's coming up in their world, right? Um, because there's so many things. I'll tell you a funny story. I've done 100-mile ultra marathon, so I ran 100 miles straight. It took me 25 hours. And I heard this guy who his name is Jesse Itzler. He's a famous speaker, and he was talking about someone helped him run 100-mile marathon just by saying every mile said something you're grateful for, thank the volunteers, and then whenever he was asked by the person running with him how you're feeling, he said, "I feel outstanding," right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's hokey, right? Well, Dr. Rob, it was 40 degrees. I was in a muddy pit, 82 miles, and I've been running for 20 straight hours. I'm in the woods alone, feeling horrible. And I said, you know what? I feel outstanding. I said, the next person I talk to, I'm going to tell them that I feel great. Like, I'm not going to lie. I feel great. I was telling myself that the whole time, and my last 5 miles was faster than my first 5 miles. It's like
Great.
you just pick up and you get going. And I'll tell you, I was embarrassed. I'm in the woods by myself talking to myself. That's
Yeah.
dorky. That's embarrassing, right? Whatever you want to call it. But it worked. It made me feel good. It made me get the results I wanted. And sometimes I think it just comes down to trying it. And in that space, let me ask you, um, if there was one actionable piece that you would recommend to anyone trying to make a big change in their life, what would be the number one thing that you want people to walk away with?
If I can, I'll give you three, Sean, because they,
I'll take
they
three.
have to go hand in hand. So one of the reasons why nobody's woke up laughing ever from sleep is lack of oxygen. We only breathe about 45% of our lung capacity at any one time. When runners high, they call it, or training at the gym, you feel good. It's not because you're lifting weights or you're actually running. It's this in between. So we were meant to breathe 100% oxygen. Every illness in our body, cancers, growth, inflammation, grow in a hypoxic area, lack of oxygen. So tomorrow morning, I want you to do three things for me. I want you to get up in the morning straight away. I want you to stand up, hold on to your bed or the headboard, and I want you to take 20 exaggerated breaths in and out. Like really stupid, exaggerated breaths in and out for 20 times, guys. Okay. Now we're flooding the brain. Now there's no negativity because the brain's up and go. Let's go. Come on, let's go. That's what the brain's telling you. The central nervous system is now buzzing. All right, let's go. You're not getting up, kicking your toes, stubbing. You're getting up and your brain goes, woof, let's go. Okay. So let's train the mind to program the brain. Okay. So walk into the bathroom after that, all done one after the other. Look yourself in the mirror from 6 feet away and say, I love you 10 times. We're filling the subconscious brain. So 300 neural pathways die every day. What are you replacing them with? 300 other ones that are crap? No. I love you 10 times. Let's part that. But 6 foot away, because when we get close to the mirror, we start to see our blemishes, like shaving or girls putting makeup on. And when we go out to the world, we subconsciously remember our blemishes and our looks. That's not how people see us. When's the last time you went in the office and go, hey, Jimmy, good to see you? We don't do that. So stand 6 feet away and see what other people see you as. And the last one, let's change some neural pathways. If you're right handed brushing your teeth, 1 week with left, 1 week with right, 1 week with left, 1 week with right. If you do them three things every day for a month and it hasn't drastically changed your life, come and find me. I'll give you $100 for wasting your time of doing that because it's an impossibility. Now I've wanted to, it didn't make any difference. It's impossible. You've just taken in 100% oxygen. It's impossible that you did. You stay in that crap mood then. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to change? How bad do you want to succeed in life and give back? That's what it's about. And I have three things every morning you can do. And also compliment three people. Let's get dopamine in my brain and dopamine in their brain. And if you're not changing the world every day, what the hell are you doing? If you don't think that you can change somebody's world, try this. Next time you're in a built up area of people, sneakers are always the best. Watch somebody coming up while walking past you with sneakers. Hey man, nice sneakers. 4 words. That's all. 4 words. You're going to change the world, okay? Hey man, nice sneakers. Oh, thank you, man. As he walks past you, turn around and watch him. He's going to look down at his sneakers at least 2 or 3 times. Now he's in a great mood. But he goes on to the wife or girlfriend because he's in a great mood, she's in a great mood. And the mother in law calls, and you can see where this is going. It's like our words are very, very important, but the internal dialogue is even more important. So by you saying, I feel outstanding, now the neural pathways pick it up and different parts of the brain pick it up. Yeah, I feel outstanding. I feel you keep telling yourself you're outstanding. You see, I do a homeless group every Saturday morning where I speak to the homelessness. It's packed out. I do it every Saturday morning. Thursday afternoon, my father died, and it was unexpected. And we cried. It was all sad. Me and my wife cried. And on Saturday,
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. On that Saturday, I went into that meeting. Nobody knew that my father died. It's none of their business. I'm here to pass you a message, to inspire you, to uplift you. And that's exactly what I did. I could have gone in, oh, my dad's died, I can't make it. Or, yeah, why am I bringing you down? So I went in there even more powerful. And when people heard weeks later, my father had died 2, 3 days ago, how did you do that? Because it's not about me. It's about me putting you in a place that you can achieve your dreams. I've already achieved my dreams. I want you to do better than me. Some people don't. I want you to do better than me because I can't explain. How can you come from homelessness to here? How can you? What? I had to have God's help. I had to do my stuff. I had to work on my trauma. I had to be the person that I was wanting to be. I had to visualize. All this work that I do on a daily basis puts me in a place where I have a huge platform to tell other people, you've no idea what I've gone through before this podcast. None of your business. My idea is to come in here and try and make this podcast the best ever. What you'll never see from me, Sean, you'll never see me sell my website or my book at any. I don't do that shit. I don't come on these deals to promote myself or to sell stuff. I don't know. If you want to go and find me, it makes no difference to me. But my job is for one person to hear this and go, shit, I feel like that. I can do this. That's all it is. Hang around 9 depressed people, you'll come off the 10th, And everything I said is researched, tried, tested. Everything we talk about, I talk about today on podcast, we've tested everything. We've tested everything. And people stay in that comfort zone. Champions are not born in the comfort zone. They will stay there for life and leave it and not step out that comfort zone. But it's tied to the trauma. So there was a girl in Manchester in the late 60s went missing, schoolgirl, blonde hair, blue eyes. There was a huge hunt for her. Couldn't find her. 3 months later, they pulled the people off search. 9 months later, a police car is following on a country road another car that's a broken light at the back. So he pulls him over. He searches his car, just make sure it's his. They find a stolen screwdriver in his trunk. Now they're allowed, no search warrant in them days. Let's go back to the house, see what else you've stolen. And sure enough, there were drills, there were lawnmowers. He's stolen like thousands and thousands worth of stuff. But when they were there, they noticed this box in the corner, about 4 foot high by about 12 foot wide. And they say, we know you've got more stolen stuff. And he says, I have no idea what's in there. So they smashed the lock off and opened it. And there was the girl that went missing 9 months ago. She was alive. She was beaten and battered. She'd been taken out 2 or 3 times a day, abused, restroom, food, back in the box. For 9 months, guys. The police officer woman, she leant over and she helped this girl step out. She took her coat off and she put it around the girl. And she said, you're safe now. What's the first thing she did, the little girl? She stepped back into the box. Because we stay in that place of, even if it's discomfort, we stay in that mental capacity of never growing and always going back to the safe, always staying in the shit that happens to us in marriages and relationships and bullying. We stay there because we're too afraid to step away from it because that becomes our comfort blanket. You're never going to be anybody, guys, and I hate to say this, or do anything and help others if you stay in that comfort zone. There was a beautiful story I tell. Is there was a guy. And he wanted to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge and throw himself off and commit suicide. And so he did. He walked there, he got on the Golden Gate Bridge, he threw himself off and he died. They fished him out of the water, found out who he was, and he went back to his apartment. While I was searching his apartment, on the kitchen table was a note, and the note read, I saw this so many times, I know it verbatim. I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge and throw myself off and die, unless somebody smiles or talks to me or say hi on the way there. And if they do, I'll turn back. My question to you guys: how many people have you walked past today going to the Golden Gate Bridge? How many people have you passed today that are heading to the Golden Gate Bridge? A smile, a word, pat on the back, attaboys, will make that guy turn around and go back home and make something of their life. So it's never about me. It's not about you. We're put in a position, Sean, to help people and inspire people. The sadness of this country is that you need money to do that. You know, you need a bigger platform. And that's what I prayed for, and that's what I got. I asked for a huge $1 million house. I've got a $1 million house, but I also asked for it to. We have sober Sundays every Sunday at the house. Barbecues, pool. There's like 100 people every Sunday come around to the house, and we have a ball. You get gifted these things if you're doing the right thing. And again, how bad do you want it?
Rob, that's a great way to end
Let's
this
do
best
this.
podcast ever. Let's go. I can't tell you how much I love it, and you there's really nothing to say to wrap that up. You wrapped it up so well. I just want to let you know that I'm going to do my job. I am going to right now make a post on Instagram, talk about the best podcast I just had, make sure people listen. As you're saying this, I'm digesting it with one half of my brain. My other half of my brain goes, I need to make sure I promote this. I need to talk to my girlfriend about learn what we learned. We live in a populated area by the beach. So when I take a walk in, I'm going to see 800 people on my walk today. Imagine if I made
Yeah.
800 people happy by smiling, nice shoes,
Yes.
something like that. It's going to change the world. And I cannot wait to meet you in person, whenever that is. I cannot wait to learn more about your coaching. I'll follow up on that. I can't wait to get this podcast out. And I'm very, very happy that Courtney landed in my inbox with an email about us doing this.
Wow, man, that is awesome. I was looking forward to this all day. You know, I've been busy, but I kept saying I can't wait to go on with Sean. Guys, I want to leave you with this. Always keep your feet in the trenches. If you're that person at home that Sean and I talked about, that depressive person, maybe on their way to the Golden Gate Bridge, 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. Text me and I'll arrange a 20-minute pep talk that will change your life. And you know, if it doesn't, I'll send you $100 straight away on the phone. I'm here to help, guys. I'm not the guy you see on TV. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that sold his children out for alcohol. I have something. I want to bless you with it. So text me. I'll text you back, and then we'll arrange for that 20-minute pep talk, because you are worth it. And I'll always have my feet in the trenches.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I can't wait to share that with the audience. Have an amazing day, Rob. You'll hear from me as well, and I'll be in touch.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you for watching today's episode. If you got something out of this, it would mean so much if you could just take a second and give us a rating on whatever platform you're watching it on. And it would mean so much to the world if you could just find one person that you think this message resonates with and you could share that with them. Thank you so much for your support. Looking forward to share the next episode with you.